Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning on the east side of the map playing in blue we've got 3DB playing as the Byzantines, and his opponent in the west side of the map playing in red we've got loueMT playing as the Japanese. Welcome everyone to Dry Arabia. I hope you guys are having a great morning, good afternoon or good evening, of course all very much depending where you guys are in the world, and hopefully you are doing fantastically well. And you know what, hopefully we'll be having a fantastic game today with two of the very best players in Age of Empires 4 at the moment. In fact, loueMT at the moment is the #1 ranked player on the 1v1 ladder. He's been climbing, he's been dominating this season. Interesting matchup, the Byzantines versus the Japanese, two of the new civilizations from the Sultan's Ascent DLC. I mean, I guess you can kind of still call them new, maybe. I mean, Sultan's Ascent DLC has been out for quite some time, but you guys know what I mean, the newer of the civilizations. And this matchup is interesting because the Byzantines are an economic powerhouse. They've been strong for quite a while, but they have recently had a bit of a nerf on their olive grove cost. Has been increased a little bit, and we shall see how much that affects them. The cistern, of course, the heart of the Byzantine economy. Give them extra gather rate on their villages. Start off at 10%. Of course, scales as the water levels go up, as you connect the cisterns together via the aqueduct system. Also has conscriptio, which increases the military production rate, which really goes nicely hand in hand with the gather rate increase for the villagers. The Japanese have had a couple of changes themselves. They have got the daimyo manor at a cheaper cost now at 225 stone, which is fantastic for them. Allows them to have more kind of, I guess, efficient farming, but also gives them additional defenses on their town centre, which is incredibly nice if you're under pressure. Now, speaking of being under pressure, Byzantines and played by B today, he might be a bit under pressure because look at this goal position so far forward. It's a bit of a tricky one. He has some potential to wall up maybe to woodline, but it's not a safe and easy one. And even worse, he's got his deer on the front position. Not that necessarily hurts the Byzantines too much in the early game because they typically look to go for the berries rather. There we go, going to go for the Grand Winery landmark, given the boosting on the olive grove income from the berries and the olive groves alike. So good thing he's got at least one resource around the back. Now, I would like to say, by the way, a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube. Guys are absolute legends, so thank you. Especially those of you who have gone the extra mile and have become YouTube channel members or Twitch subscribers. Can't thank you guys enough. It really helps me out, the support you guys have been given. Whether it's just, liking the videos, that kind of thing, sharing it with people you think might be interested in watching them. And I hope you guys have been finding it entertaining and it's somewhat informative. Got the Cura storehouse being built for the Japanese to get up to tier 2. The second age, the Feudal age. Placed very close to the town centre means that it won't get a full patch of farms around it, but of course whatever he's lacking in farms around it will be getting as wood. Speaking of wood, the Cura storehouse will be a nice drop-off point for this wood line on the left side. So in terms of opening, kind of expecting to see an early mercenary house for the Byzantines. It's something they do very, very often, get the olive grove, or the olive oil rather, being spent. The question is, what does he go with? Does he go for the Western mercenary contract, giving him access to longbows? Does he go for the Eastern one, giving him access to careshakes? You can make an argument for either way, but it feels like you can't really go wrong with longbows. We'll see exactly what B decides to do. Now, speaking about buffs, they have actually had a bit of a buff here, the Japanese, on the cost of their upgrades, or at least this one in particular, from the farmhouse, which would be great for their economy for sure. B getting to the next stage a little bit quicker. Looking to get that second cistern soonish, I would have thought. Wait, is he not? Okay. I've kind of fully expected to have seen it by now. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there we go. A little bit farther forward than I expected it to be. But he's going for the deer camp, right? So, yeah. So we'll be increasing it to water level 2 before too long. The question is, what does loueMT place as a production building? Just not quite there yet in terms of wood income. Just getting the straggler tree for now. There it is. It's a stable. And he does have the daimyo manor upgrade already kicking in. So the next one will be the daimyo palace. So this farm already buffed up by 25%. It's a really big deal actually as it happens. There's a villager walking out here for loueMT, looking to get some walls up, palisades, just to protect that economy. And this is actually quite a nice wall. It's very minimal wood investment, but protects a lot. In fact, he's got 2 gold veins behind this. This is fantastic for the Japanese, no doubt about it. There it is. There's the Bannerman coming out for the Japanese before too long. That's something that B has to be careful about. Yeah, it's going to be going for a mercenary house. Build the barracks first, just to get loueMT out, because he's obviously worried about the Bannerman coming out. Good choice. Because he's going to want to be protecting the deer camp if that's something he's going to be moving out to soon. For the time being, though, he's reliant on the berries. Oh, and it just reminded me. If you guys have been enjoying the content, make sure you do subscribe, especially if you've seen maybe like, I don't know, 2-3 videos and you've been enjoying the casts, because you wouldn't want to miss the next one. Make sure, importantly, you hit the notification bell. It's probably the most important thing you can do if you are looking to keep up to date with the very best casted games on this channel, because then it gives you a little bit of a ping when I do upload. I'm going to be uploading hopefully every 2 to 3 days, that kind of amount. I don't want to be overdoing it. I don't think I'll be able to manage doing it every day, especially because I'm going to be limiting what I'm posting. I'm only going to be posting the very best games. That way I know that, you guys can click on it and then you'll be quite sure that it's going to be a banger of a game. And also at that same token, I don't have to try and rush getting games just to get content every day. So every other day or so, every 2 to 3 days will be fine, I think, from the strategy that we're going for. I think quality over quantity is probably the best way forward. Adding in an archery range follow-up to try and tackle the loueMT, which is actually quite nice because Yumi Ashigaru, they've had a bit of a bad rap at times, I think. I mean, sure, they're not the strongest units in terms of comparative, compared to other archers, but they are cheaper. So that's quite nice for the Japanese. They can pump them out quite early, and I wonder whether that's going to be something that he's going to leverage and take advantage of. The early timing in terms of numbers is quite powerful for the Japanese, just because of how cheap the Yumi Ashigaru can be. And if you can get across the map quick enough, maybe you can do some damage before these walls really go up in any meaningful way. It looks like that's going to be the case, actually, with double archery range production. He's going to go for it here, loueMT. The cavalry around the top, but yeah, B's well protected. He's he's waiting for it, and of course he does have the ability to deploy the Akritoi. It's a nice bit of buffering on the villagers, courtesy of the cistern, activatable ability, of course. Going for the third archery range. Okay, that was a bit... I mean, I wasn't expecting that, to be fair. He's really going to be pumping out the Yumi Ashigaru. The great thing about them as well is that whilst they are a little bit of a less damage output unit, they do have faster mobility. See, 1.38 tiles per second. Compare that to the longbowmen at 1.12. Means that, as is the case often with the English, sometimes it can be a bit snowbally. You take one bad fight, and it's a big problem. And that can often happen because you've got one player that can dictate the terms. You've got loueMT who can decide to fight if he wants to. If he wants to gap close, if he feels confident that he's got enough numbers, he can push the issue. Having said that, the longbows do get the first few hits because of the range, that the advantage that they have is very powerful. And the village is coming out now to berries, I think. It seems that way. Looks like they're carrying the equipment that they need to carry those berries back home to the mill. And cavalry haven't been able to do any damage just yet, but he's forced B into playing defensive. At least for now. Lots of units on the field, but no real engagement just yet, from either player. The farming transition is so smooth for the Japanese. This is really what does them so well. We talk about the economic powerhouse of the Byzantines, and it's certainly there. Water level 2 now. The gather rate on the villages will be 14%. It's been right off the bat, but the extra 25% gather rate on these farms is incredibly nice, especially because you get it for free. It makes it, don't really need a farming transition. And it's quite significant because if you're making wood-heavy units, of which archers typically are, not having to make as many farms is a big deal. You save that wood, you can spend it on units. Especially if you're making it from 3 archery ranges. B, though, looking to poke and prod a little bit further forward. Yeah, it's got some torch damage coming out for the loueMT. I kind of wonder who's going to try and opt for the castle age first. Often it's who blinks, takes a risk, but it could be high rewards with it. Nope, switched the colours there for a second by accident. But yeah, we do typically keep the colours blue and red just to make sure it's a little bit easier for those who are colourblind. Oh, it does actually pick off a villager there with the Bannerman. Nice pick off. First blood, first villager going down. Goes in the way of the Japanese killing the Byzantines. Might get another one here on the wood line potentially. He's going to cycle through, and yeah, these villagers have to back away. It's causing a lot of idle time more than anything. That's fantastic. And the villager's going to fight here. It does have Akrotoi, to be fair. So he's going to lose one villager probably out of this. Probably won't lose a second. That's the benefit of having the Akrotoi for sure. Yumiyashigara numbers really starting to scale. 33 of them. Holy smokes. That army size really building up. Well, the bannerman does leave the banner a little bit longer after death. But no one there to take advantage of it just yet. Looks like B is opting for the castle age, you know. Look at the food income he's got, or at least banked up. But he's only got one village on gold. He's too busy building a outpost, which is actually going to hurt him a little bit because his eco balance isn't feeling quite right. He doesn't have a stable to make horsemen. So this is going to be a bit tricky, right? Looks like he is trying to gun for that castle age. Could be a mistake because loueMT is looking to maybe dive this. This is the problem with the gold vein, right? It's just not in the position he wants it. Forward and rough to take. He can now move villages around the back though, so it wouldn't be too bad. He does have the walls up after all. He does have to move villages back, at least the ones on berries. Now border settlements coming in for B means that line of sight will be pretty huge. He sees quite a lot with that. Looks like loueMT is itching for the castle age himself. Understandably so, because you're up against palisades walls like this. You have to question really how much damage can you do whilst you're still on the feudal age without any siege. So it does look like he's going to be heading that way. And do you know what? He might get there a little bit quicker because let's take a look at the income for a minute. It's not quite there in terms of food, but gold he's ahead. We'll have to see. He's probably going to break through here, but the longbows, no, he decided to go back here, but he doesn't really want to engage this. Perhaps just wants to get to the next stage, castle age, and then upgrade his army and then take a fight. Which could be pretty powerful. Yeah, loueMT, look at the economy. Holy moly. He's almost certainly going to get to the castle age before his enemy. Although, well, maybe not. It remains to be seen. It's pretty neck and neck. Certainly feels like he's going to place the foundations first, though, because B's really struggling on the gold. The question is, what does he go with? Going to go no, he's going to go for the floating gate. Understandably so. It's very, very strong, despite having the nerfs to it recently. Instead of getting 75 gold per minute, if you place it on a forge for the Orishiro, he actually gets only 60. And some of the timings, the production speed has reduced as well. I believe now it's 150% rather than 200%. But still, not too bad overall. Gonna snipe this villager, the Yumiyashigari, paying attention. Snipes it very quickly. Golden Horn Tower is the landmark of choice for the Byzantines. No real surprises there. Really powerful landmark. Periodically gives a couple of mercenaries for free. Not too shabby. It looks like the Japanese should be getting to the castle age first, and then might be looking to push on in. Pretty passive start, but still been lots to talk about. That's a lot of villages on gold there for loueMT. Go straight for the Orishiro inside the stable. Quite likely to see a lot of mounted samurai on the basis of things, and why not? Such a powerful unit, of course, for the Japanese. B knows exactly where the army is. He sees it because of border settlements. loueMT just poking and prodding his head through, not really going for it too quickly. I mean, the good thing for the Japanese as well, he does already have the priests out, the Shinto priests. Yumiyashigari looking to poke and prod, looking to make a move in, but of course palisades on the way. The trouble is that gold is still harassable, right? Whilst it's not necessarily reachable with the longbows being there, but that could be a position he pushes into before too long. He's getting all the relevant upgrades. You can see veterans are coming on in, getting the Widge Rivets as well as balanced projectiles. Going to be powerful for the Yumiyashigari, coming at the perfect time. Oh no, B's just moved out at the wrong time. These aren't veteran longwomen yet. This is not going to be a good fight for him. He does get some veterancy on the longbows, but I think he'll be quite happy taking this fight here. The Yumiyashigari backed up by the Yumi Bannerman, increasing damage output by 20%. This is huge. This is going to be a great fight for loueMT. B came out at the worst possible time. Sure, he had some of his upgrades in, but not all of them. A couple of Limitana coming down the south now. Oh no, they're just being fed in here. B not recognizing that. That was a bit rough for sure. loueMT taking a good fight, that's for sure. And yeah, now he's going to range the gold villages. Those villages have to back away. Not all is lost though, because you can take a back gold. It looks like there might be a slight switch into Varangian Guards, which is probably a good approach here, although this combination, Mounted Samurai and Yumi Ashigaru, is going to be really powerful. Sure, Varangian Guards could be an option against the Yumi Ashigaru, but then he's got to contend with those Mounted Samurai. So I wonder whether Limitane Mangonels might be better. We have to see what he opts to do. Bit of a raiding party in the north as well, a couple of horsemen. All died to the Limitane in the end, but a couple of villages idled, not too bad. And he's killed 6 so far here, loueMT. Looks like he's in a good spot. He's looking to move on forward. The question is he biting off a little bit too much? I don't think so, as it happens, because, you know what, B doesn't have that much in the way of forces here, in the way of army. The Limitane are kind of a little bit awkward in this situation. Could use the deployment shield wall. Enables them to tank it a little bit against the Yumi Ashigaru. Really, he wants the Limitane on these Mounted Samurai if he can keep up to it. That's the big concern. Speaking of Mounted Samurai, they are running around the base. It must be annoying for B to deal with. Behind all of this, by the way, it looks like loueMT is opting for a second base expansion. The second town centre. He's got enough stone for it, just doesn't quite have the wood for it. Speaking of wood, a lot of wood just invested there by 3DB. Varangian Guards tanking. Quite heavily as well, actually, to be fair. Takes out the Mounted Samurai, so maybe B can defend this, but look at that. Samurai is coming in from the north. This is going to be huge, trying to take out as many of those longbows as possible. There should be a good fight here overall for loueMT's diving this. Despite there being a town centre, he's quite confident of this fight. And this is going to be massive. The biggest thing about this, by the way, is sure he's getting damage, but he's also getting the second base behind this, the second town centre. But he's going to do significant eco damage. B already lost 11 villagers. And he's had a lot of idle time as well. 9 villages idled inside the town centre. The Varangian Guards will clear this up in the end. But it's bought enough time for loueMT to get the second town centre up and running. And safely and securely as well. But he is in a bit of a danger zone here, because whilst B has lost a lot of villagers, 12 in total, the next 5-10 minutes of the game, there's a phase where B should be able to start producing a lot of units if he doesn't opt for a second town centre behind this. If he does, then it's going to be a bit awkward because he won't have that timing now, because he does have a military advantage, and maybe he can look to do some counter damage. It's going to be up to the Japanese to soak that up, trying to keep the second town centre running as much as possible and get a villager lead to then bounce back with a huge economy. It looks like that's going to be the game plan here so far. B is pumping out units. Yeah, he wants to do some damage. He wants to retaliate, and understandably so. loueMT looking to just secure up that 8,000 gold vein. Bringing guards and longbows, it's going to be an awkward one to deal with his Mounted Samurai, actually, as it happens. Yeah, he's adding in a couple of cataphracts, a couple of Landsknechte as well. Now, relics, 2 of them already have been picked up by loueMT, by the way, courtesy of getting to the castle edge first. B looking to pick up 2 himself, though. The third one in the north, there's something that, well, the Japanese are opting and hoping to get. Cataphracts looking to try and chase down the Mounted Samurai. It looks like the Mounted Samurai will turn around and fight, understandably so. Kind of outnumbers the Cataphracts. They're trying to get out of there. And he does. But loueMT should be aware of this. Villagers out to bore. Will the outpost go up in time? It will. Still, the longbows possibly could have ranged some of them, but didn't quite spot it in the end. Maybe didn't have the vision because of the stealth forest potentially there. Going for the deer camp. Vacating the villages on berries. Make sure it doesn't lose them. B even has the presence of mind to try and take a sacred site. It's being contested though with the Mounted Samurai. And Cataphracts quite happy to take the fight. Scout going to slowly burn his way through in the north. Not really doing too much there, but you know, slowly but surely making his way through. Going to try and get out of there. Oh, the archers kind of caught. The longbow's kind of caught. Mounted Samurai going to dive on in. Good number of Cataphracts though. He does trample on through on the Mounted Samurai. Good usage of the ability. He's taking this fight. Can he afford to? I'm not so sure. I mean, he does have a couple of bringing guards there, as well as the Cataphracts together. Did lose the Landsknechte in the end. The cavalry are going to run out of there. Of course he can do that though. He's got the movement speed, so not in too much trouble. The B, it feels like he does have to do significant damage. I mean, if he can find some of this pocket economy, there's 8 villages here for the risk taking, but they all managed to garrison inside. But still, if he takes this down, that's 8 villagers for the pickings. There's a couple around the back, but he has to spot them. He has to get them. The outpost in play with the spring on emplacements doesn't seem likely. And B just trying to get his second relic of the game. And the Golden Gums looking kind of crazy. Interestingly enough, he went for the Yorishiro inside the lumber camp. He's going to be generating more wood from it. Kind of curious to see. I guess he was making a lot of the Yumi Ashigaru, which he has since stopped making. One sacred site apiece, at least for now. Be looking to try and get the other one. Won't happen in the end because gets absolutely decimated by the Mounted Samurai. But you know what? B will be aware of the situation. He knows where his enemy is now. Maybe he's going to look to attack himself, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Looking to build a Kara Siphon first, and then work from there. But loueMT's villager lead really started to escalate. I wonder when B decides to get a second town center of himself for himself. I think he's probably going to do some damage first, and then add in the second town center. He's got to get that damage soon, because the villager lead really started to escalate for the Japanese. Bear in mind, some of the tempo has kind of evaporated for the Byzantines because he had to spend a lot of wood on farms. Speaking of which, that's exactly what loueMT does now, but supported by the Yorishiro inside the lumber camps. He should be feeling good about it. Got the Kara Siphon working on the outpost. No villagers there to be slaughtered, although there's a couple there. I mean, the Caliphate should be charging that. He's not spotted it just yet. He's busy dealing with this mounted samurai raid at the back. This is a really good timing on this loueMT. He saved a lot of villagers down in the south. Akuto comes up, but still, there's just too many. I don't think he can fight this, not with these numbers. There's way too many mounted samurai. He's absolutely slaughtering here. He's going to try and do some damage of his own. But yeah, B, he's suffering a lot. Just lost so many villagers in a blink of an eye. Almost at half the population supply in terms of villagers. On the other side of things, villagers are being idled significantly. In fact, more than half the economy is idled here for the Japanese, which is not a good sight for them. Going to lose the village. Oh, there's villagers there. Oh no, he's going to lose quite a few. Great comeback in terms of village kills here for B. Oh, mounted samurai. Notice the villagers on deer camp. There's absolute mayhem from both players. It looks like B should be able to take out a lot of this army, but it probably will fizzle out this attack. He has done significant villager damage, but that second town center has really put him in a good spot here, loueMT. He's got to deal with these mounted samurais if he can. The biggest thing is that not only has B killed a lot of villagers, he's actually caused a lot of idle time, so this could be his way back into the game potentially. Mounted samurai diving in, these villagers super exposed, Caliphact's trying to protect them. Villagers manage to squeeze through the walls, but the Caliphact's chase and he's just running into all sorts of trouble. He does seal up the wall again. So should be able to get the villagers on the other side of the gate. Caliphact's having to head back home, so he's held on here, loueMT. But I have to say, it felt like B got a lot of damage out of that. He's still significantly behind on villager counts, but he did cause a lot of idle time as well. But yeah, it feels like B probably does need to add in more town centers now, because it does feel like he's going to find it difficult to mount another big response, considering how weak his economy is at the moment. Cataphracts all going down to the mounted samurai, so will the longbows. But they bravely stand and fight, of course. Oh, so loueMT's saving up for the Shogunate Castle potentially here. It's absolutely fantastic for the farming economy, no doubt about it. Even more farms coming out. That food comes about to skyrocket here for the Japanese, you feel, especially with Shogunate Castle, if that comes in soon. Doesn't quite have the stone for it just yet. Where are these villagers off to? Kara Siphon, relatively unguarded, so the mounted samurai should take that up, but the question is whether the farmhouse will go down first. I mean, it's going to go down anyway. It's in flames after all. Down she goes. Yeah, and there's a second town center for B now. The only problem is that this won't help him catch up. This will only keep things stabilized at the villager deficit that already exists. And that is not going to be something that B would be happy about if he knew just how far ahead the Japanese are at the moment. Both in terms of the villager count, but also how developed the economy is. Speaking of which, considering how developed the economy is, look at the production that loueMT could probably afford behind all of this. Very premium units, mounted samurai, is getting almost 1,600 food per minute, and he doesn't even have the Shogunate Castle in just yet. Just come in now. Things are only going to get better. He had got the lion's share of the relics, 3 versus 2. He's now looking to get some map control with those sacred sites as well. Getting one in the south. Looking to secure up the one in the middle, and has already got clutches on the one in the north. And B's got to find a way to hold on the next push. It's a big if you can, though. Now, the mounted samurai will break through. The villager has no hope on repairing. Yeah, the torch is damaged just a little bit too much, but it does allow the Byzantines to get in position. Limitane, Landskaneshta, Cataphract. Solid army, but you know what? Sacred Victory Site Timer has been activated. So it's something that B has to be cautious of. He can buy some time maybe, but he's got to get out on the map at some point. Because he does have to neutralize that sacred site. loueMT likely to back away from that position. Outpost is protected well by the Cataphracts Limitane. He's trying to focus on the right side as well. It's finding it difficult to break through loueMT. But you know what? Doesn't necessarily matter. Got a crazy economy behind this. Almost 2,500 gold, food per minute rather. 600 gold per minute. Samurai just about to dive on in, gets the village on the olive groves. Should be able to sweep up the Landskaneshta pretty quickly. And the longbows as it happens. This is not a good fight here for B. He's going to try and take a fight on the front lines and try and take out some of the mounted samurai if he can. Cataphracts can't quite keep up. And B's losing a lot more again. He's lost 34 villages in total in this match. And it's starting to show on the weakened economy. Oh, B's economy is just being absolutely demolished. A lot of villages idled. Some Landskaneshta getting some value, especially with the Limitane and the mounted samurai. I think loueMT was just looking away for a minute. He should be able to take this fight. Oh, maybe not. No, that's a very weak mounted samurai overall. The villagers are now back out to work for the Byzantines, but you can see the food gather rate is just not up to scratch. Not when you compare it to what the Japanese are benefiting from right now. The late game for the Japanese is incredibly powerful. So it is for the Byzantines at times, but they do rely on the olive oil for it, really. And the great thing for the Japanese now is going to go for the Imperial Age. More importantly, with all 3 sacred sites, it means that he's got a really good, strong passive gold generation here. 3 relics, 3 sacred sites. Can't ask for much more. Byzantine is just playing catch up, playing chase. He has to catch the army. Can't really let them roam free. With the Imperial Age coming in now for loueMT, this is going to be really tough for B because he's way off in his sort of Imperial Age himself. All we have to see is mounted samurai upgrades coming on in. Elite mounted samurai could be the way forward here. Maybe add in some hand cannoneers against the Cataphracts could work well. B looking to just secure the 8,000 gold vein here. Pretty important. He has run out of resources back at home. In fact, you know what? So has loueMT. That's why he's going for this 8,000. Oh no, wait. She's got... Hang on a minute. That's so smart. So we saw this earlier. He actually moved out to the gold earlier than he needed to necessarily. He just took advantage of his map control. The benefit of that is he's still got gold in the base. So if he does need to rely on more gold that can't take from external sources outside of the base, he can still go back home and get it. Speaking of going back home, B is looking to go back home with his Limitane. Will he get there in time or not? That's the big question. He's got a good number of units, B, but they are still castle age units. Now these guys are elite mounted samurai. He's even going to get 10% movement speed very shortly. And yet more villagers about to go down here for B. And he's just going to run riot. That's what he has to do, just distract, make B not able to macro in peace. Make B not able to make units in peace. He has got access to the gold again here on this northern side of the map. It's floating a lot of it as well. It's really food that he's struggling with. I guess the increased cost of the olive groves have been a big deal, actually. It's clearly made a big impact. Oh, that's not a fight that loueMT would want to take. That's a lot of Limitane. Couple of land skirmishes just body blocking a little bit. Can make an escape from that position if he wishes to. But does he take this fight? I mean, seems like he's always toying with it, but doesn't quite turn around and fight. Probably waiting for his upgrades, right? He's going to be waiting for biology, understandably so, and also the melee armor. And increasing the melee damage as well. That's going to be a super powerful mounted samurai very soon. Oh no, the villagers on the stone. I think he sacrifices the mounted samurai if he needs to take villagers out. He did take out a couple. He managed to get away with them as well. The majority of them at least. He could snipe out yet more villagers. Oh, there's villagers on the stone. I think he goes for it. It's going to charge on in. Understandably so. There's no reason not to, right? Limitana won't get any hits just yet. He's going to sacrifice maybe one Limitana to get a lot of villagers here. He's killed 62 in total here. loueMT is going to be in a good spot. The economy for B is looking terrible. He's got a good army, good numbers. But it feels like with this kind of eco setup, he's got minimal eco. He has to do some really decisive damage. He's got to deliver a killer blow. He's got to do a lot of damage into his enemy's economy. Without which, he probably can't win this game. Turns around and fights here, Louis. Imperial Age versus Castle Age. He decides not to engage fully because there are a lot of Limitane. Now the samurai coming around the right side, the open portion of the base. He's added in some hand cannoneers, trying to bait the enemy towards the hand cannoneers, and he does exactly that. Hand cannoneers will get some shots here. B, once he notices, he does try and back away or out of range, but doesn't seem like that's happening anytime soon. Couple of counterfacts, Limitane chasing down the enemy Japanese units in their own base as it happens, and it looks like the Japanese should win that fight really comprehensively. It's just the Imperial Age upgrades, it's so powerful. He's got all the blacksmith upgrades that he would want and he would need. Apart from maybe the melee attack, actually, to be fair, but still not too shabby. He's got the abandonment involved, and he's looking really strong. The mounted samurai have so much HP, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. GG gets called. 3DB taps out. It was a cracking game of Age of Empires 4. Bit of a back and forth. Unfortunately, B suffered a lot of damage, wasn't able to do enough back, and the Japanese conquered Dry Arabia. Hope you guys enjoyed this castle game. If you did, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Take care, and see you next time.